They're confessions that tighten the heart, each unspoken word transforming into a weighty mountain, growing ever more burdensome with the passage of time. Today marks the moment I unveil the depths of this exquisite torment that has enveloped my soul, the hidden truth that has nestled within the depths of my heart. At the age of 62, I found myself swept away by an unexpected experience that ignited a passion within me, making me feel more vibrantly alive than I ever thought possible. And it arrived at the most unexpected moment. On that fateful morning, the watering system in the patio had once again chosen to betray us. The shattered nozzles and my chaotic rituals whispered of a life caught in a tantalizing loop, each moment echoing the last with a hint of allure, loneliness, whispers, and the dance of habit. Since my beloved's passing, each time a delicate matter in the garden required attention, I found myself reaching out to someone for assistance. By a stroke of fate, I selected a gardener from the pages of the telephone directory, an unexpected choice that hinted at the allure of chance encounters. Matthew, the youthful voice on the other end of the line, resonated with a captivating depth and assurance. "I can leave at this very moment," he murmured, a hint of mischief in his voice. There was an enchanting quality to his voice, an ineffable allure that stirred a sense of intrigue within me. I endeavored to keep my focus elsewhere. Ultimately, it was merely a matter of the nozzles, a small hiccup in an otherwise enchanting affair. Yet, as the bell chimed, a transformation unfolded. As I opened the door, the young man before me exuded a captivating energy that swept away the dullness of my existence in an instant. Matthew let the toolbox slip from his shoulder, its thud echoing softly as it met the floor at the entrance. "Is the patio in this direction?" Julia inquired, her voice laced with a hint of intrigue. For a fleeting moment I paused, my hand lingering in the air as I contemplated the allure of the corridor ahead. "Indeed, yes, just beyond that door. If you wish to be among the privileged few to uncover these enchanting mysteries, do subscribe and ensure your notifications are activated. Stay with the video until the very end, for it promises to become delightfully peculiar." I led him to the garden door. The young man's imposing figure gracefully occupied the slender corridor. His athletic build was noticeable beneath his shirt. In that moment, I found myself intrigued, my attention drawn to him. It had been ages since I had laid eyes on such a captivating figure. I found myself lingering on the sight before me, captivated for a moment longer than I had planned. As he stepped into the patio, his presence was so assured that it seemed he was not merely there to repair a nozzle, but to unlock a long-sealed passageway, awakening the secrets of the past. "Is this the nozzle?" he inquired, his gaze lingering on the vintage accessory that lay gracefully on the floor. "Oh, indeed," I whispered softly. What was it that made my heart race with such anticipation? This was merely a task of restoration. Though the past lingered in my thoughts, my heart defiantly yearned to craft a narrative all its own. Matthew knelt gracefully, his form accentuated as he inspected the intricate pipe system. With each subtle movement, the contours of his muscles became more pronounced, and I noticed, almost breathlessly, that he was holding his breath, lost in the moment without even knowing it. "It's rather an antiquated system," he murmured, his fingers gliding over the pipes with a certain intimacy. "But we can mend this. It may require a few hours." His composed and assured tone caught me off guard. It had been ages since I encountered someone so youthful and so confidently assured of their charm. Perhaps that wasn't the true issue at hand. Perhaps it was that elusive sensation, long dormant, beginning to awaken once more. I was contemplating my departure from the patio when Matthew suddenly turned, his gaze locking onto mine with an intensity that sent a thrill through me. "Might I borrow a towel from that spot?" he inquired, gesturing toward a delicate trickle in the garden. I brought my hand to my face, a blush creeping over me. "Absolutely," I replied with a hint of eagerness. I reached for the closet door, my hands trembling with anticipation as I slowly pulled it open. As I handed him the towel, Our fingers briefly touched, causing a subtle but noticeable reaction within me. In that fleeting moment, I understood that this was far beyond a mere act of restoration. The fleeting hush that enveloped us felt laden with the unspoken desires of countless moments long anticipated. Thank you, he murmured, turning back to his tasks, yet that fleeting glance in his eyes sent a shiver through me, leaving me utterly captivated. My thoughts lingered, dancing on the edge of desire. Was it merely a fleeting surge, or had this young man stirred a long dormant passion within me, one that had lain untouched for years? As Matthew knelt to adjust the nozzle, I strolled gracefully around the patio, savoring the moment. My hands hesitated, unsure whether to continue assisting or to pause and reflect on the moment. The stillness in the room enveloped me, yet it was his mere presence that tightened around my heart, leaving me breathless. My gaze kept wandering towards him, drawn in an irresistible dance of longing. His youthful spirit, the vibrant energy that radiated from him, and the intense dedication he poured into his craft, a sense of nostalgia and renewed energy emerged within me, reminiscent of emotions I hadn't felt in years. I found myself compelled to speak, as if the very air around us demanded it. There are few young gardeners, I remarked, aware that my words hung in the air, perhaps a touch too candidly. How long have you been indulging in this delightful escapade? Matthew paused, casting a lingering glance over his shoulder. The instant his gaze locked onto mine, a warmth surged through me, though I made a valiant effort to ignore it. I've been immersed in this for 5 years, he remarked, his attention drifting back to the task at hand, a hint of allure in his voice. My journey began as a humble apprentice, and from there, I gracefully stepped into the world of entrepreneurship, crafting my own exquisite venture. My curiosity was insatiable. Pray tell, how many years have graced your presence? I inquired, my voice laced with an admiration I could scarcely conceal. 28, he declared, his voice smooth and unwavering. I was taken aback by his youth, yet a delightful flutter stirred within me. His youthful spirit captivated me, stirring an unexpected allure within my heart. Ah, I murmured, attempting to grace the moment with a smile. Your age is a delightful surprise. I would never have guessed you were 28. Your allure has taken on a captivating sophistication. Matthew hesitated, a flicker of surprise crossing his features, as though my words had stirred something deep within him. After a brief, tantalizing pause, he resumed his tasks, the air thick with unspoken tension. His professionalism offered me a moment to regain my composure, yet that playful allure within me lingered enticingly. Would you care for a coffee once you've completed the repairs? Julia, I replied, attempting to steer the conversation elsewhere. I possess a splendid coffee machine that brews delightful concoctions. Whispers abound that my coffee possesses a certain allure, captivating those who dare to in. He lingered for a moment, a subtle tension coursing through his shoulders. He gazed at me once more as if he were weighing the secrets of our unspoken connection. I appreciate the offer, but I must attend to some matters today. I must leave as soon as I finish. A hint of disappointment flickered within me, yet it was evident that Matthew was resolute in maintaining a sense of decorum. Perhaps that was what rendered it all the more captivating. He approached his work with a fervor that belied his youth, maintaining an air of sophistication that captivated those around him. As he concluded his day at work, I caught him stealing glances in my direction, his hands busy with the tools of his trade. There was an undeniable allure in those glances, desire, intrigue, yet a touch of reluctance. Finished, he declared, casually slinging the toolbox over his shoulder with a hint of mischief in his eyes. The irrigation system should function beautifully now. Should any issues arise, simply reach out to me. I certainly will, I replied, my fingers brushing against the door frame as I prepared to leave. Thank you for resolving it with such swiftness. I suppose that is the charm of youth. He offered a subtle smile, yet maintained his composed demeanor. He strolled toward the door, hesitating for a fleeting moment, as though words danced on the tip of his tongue, yet he chose silence instead. He merely nodded, then slipped away into the shadows. A connection seemed to blossom between me and that young man, an enchanting affair that defied convention, leaving me uncertain of its destination. For the first time in what felt like an eternity, my heart raced with a thrilling intensity. I began to wonder if this encounter was simply about garden maintenance or if this young man had come into my life to awaken deeper emotions. The following morning, I flitted from one plant to another, eager to fulfill a request for a Matthew cheese enthusiast in my circle, my heart racing with anticipation. The chime echoed softly through the air. "Hello, Matthew," I murmured, letting a hint of longing seep into my tone. "It seems the nozzle you so expertly repaired is faltering once more. I do apologize, but might you be able to return?" Matthew's tone remained impeccably professional, yet a hint of uncertainty lingered in the air. "Naturally. I shall bring along some spare parts this time, ensuring we can mend it for all eternity. I shall arrive in approximately an hour." I expressed my gratitude, and as I ended the call, an unexpected rush of feeling enveloped me. This time, I yearned to strike a delicate balance between readiness and the allure of spontaneity. As I rummaged through my closet, my fingers brushed against my exquisite black lace robe, a piece that whispered secrets of allure and elegance. Simply something that caresses the senses. I attempted to persuade my heart, yet deep down, I understood it was a futile endeavor. As I gazed into the mirror, a sudden chime of the doorbell broke the spell of my reflection. I inhaled deeply, my heart racing as I gently pushed the door open. Matthew's gaze lingered on me for the briefest moment, a flicker of something unspoken passing between us before he swiftly regained his composure. He carried with him a satchel of instruments, accompanied by a few alluring lengths of pipe. "Hello," I said, feigning a casual demeanor as if it were perfectly ordinary. "I trust I'm not intruding upon your peace." "This nozzle is quite the vexation," Matthew murmured, his eyes averted as he made his way to the courtyard door. "It's my pleasure," he replied with a charming smile. "This time I shall mend it for eternity." I trailed after him into the courtyard. As he leaned in to adjust the nozzle, I found myself captivated by the graceful fluidity of his every motion. His hands moved with a deftness that was both captivating and alluring, yet there was a hint of tension that lingered in the air. "Do such encounters occur frequently?" "The arrangement of elements," I replied, attempting to bridge the quiet between us. The delicate fabric of my robe caressed my skin, igniting a sense of daring within me. "I wonder, do the things you mend ever find themselves broken once more?" Matthew replied, his gaze fixed elsewhere, a hint of mystery lingering in his voice. "At times, but this occasion feels different. I possess all the elements I require." "How wonderfully cautious you are," I replied, allowing a subtle smile to grace my lips. "It seems you possess quite the talent for your profession, especially at such a tender age." As I reached for the nozzle, my hand accidentally touched his arm, leading to a brief moment of shared surprise. Matthew found himself momentarily entranced, but soon he regained his composure and returned to his duties. Though his gaze remained averted, the air between us crackled with unspoken desire. "I'm merely attempting to fulfill my duties," he finally murmured, his voice dropping to a softer, more intimate tone. For a moment, the air was thick with unspoken words. His aloof demeanor only served to ignite my daring spirit. As he leaned in to inspect the pipe beneath the nozzle, my fingers grazed his back ever so lightly. "It's quite a challenge to discover someone with your remarkable talents," I remarked, my voice laced with playful charm. This time, Matthew lifted his gaze and met mine with an intensity that sent a shiver down my spine. In his gaze, there lingered a tantalizing mix of uncertainty and tension, a subtle dance of desire as he sought to reclaim control. Evelyn, he murmured, the way he uttered my name, hinting at a delicate balance he was striving to maintain. This task is nearly complete. After this, I shall trouble you no more. Yet, for a fleeting moment, the firmness of his voice wavered, revealing a hint of vulnerability. Watching him attempt to slip away from this predicament stirred a tantalizing sensation within me. It was a fervent longing, a passion that had lain dormant for far too long. The air was thick with unspoken desires, and I found myself wondering just how long this exquisite tension could endure. We stood at the precipice, and the choice of who would dare to cross that delicate line rested solely in our hands. As Matthew leaned in to adjust the nozzle, I found myself gracefully leaning against the closet, captivated by the sight of him. The delicate fabric of my robe clung to my form with every graceful movement, enhancing a posture that was undeniably alluring. Matthew feigned indifference, yet the subtle quiver of his hands betrayed a deeper struggle. It was clear he wasn't resisting me, rather, he was grappling with his own desires. Are you quite certain you know precisely what you're doing? I inquired, a playful lilt dancing in my voice. Matthew remained focused on his task, yet an undeniable quickening of his breath hinted at a stirring beneath the surface. Naturally, he replied, his voice laced with a hint of intrigue. This is bread eaten. Is it truly? Is Julia, I murmured, leaning in just a touch closer. Then why does it break again every 2 days? I knelt gracefully, feigning the act of retrieving a towel from the closet, and as I did, the fabric of my robe shifted slightly on my shoulder. In those solitary moments, a newfound bravery blossomed within me. When Matthew's gaze met mine, time seemed to pause for a fleeting moment. Then he swiftly resumed his endeavors, a hint of intrigue lingering in the air. Yet this time, he acted with a fervor that suggested he yearned to conclude their encounter with a sense of urgency. Perhaps there's an unexpected allure in the yard that's stirring up trouble, he remarked, his lips pressed together with a hint of intrigue. Yet, there was a delicate tremor in his voice as he endeavored to maintain an air of authority. Perhaps, I murmured, allowing myself to lean once more against the closet, the air thick with unspoken possibilities. Perhaps the issue lies not in seeking the perfect caress. I allowed that sentiment to linger in the atmosphere. The air thickened with an intoxicating silence, and the tension in the intimate confines of the yard grew almost exquisite. Matthew paused, a moment of tension hanging in the air, before he set aside his tools and rose gracefully to his feet. His movements were languid, yet the expression on his face danced between desire and uncertainty. On one side, allure. On the other hand, a yearning he was attempting to conceal. I drew nearer to him, the space between us dwindling to mere centimeters. His breath was a tantalizing whisper in the air. Eveline, I murmured, my voice a soft caress in the dim light. Yet, just as I was about to complete my thought, his hands found their way to my waist. Eveline's lips grew increasingly taut, each passing second heightening the anticipation in the air. The subtle quiver in Matthew's form hinted at an impending transformation, a delicate shift in the air that promised intrigue. The quiet atmosphere changed suddenly, with only our breaths and heartbeats audible as the moment became unexpectedly intense. Evelyn, we really ought not to indulge in this, he murmured. Yet there was a tremor in his voice, laced with a hint of surrender. Is that so? Julia, I murmured, drawing closer to him. Are you certain? Matthew paused, his breath hitching in the air, and then, in a moment of daring, he pressed his lips against mine. Our initial hesitant kiss quickly deepened, reflecting a mutual and growing passion. With our eyes gently shut, we embraced one another, lost in the moment. Matthew drew nearer with each heartbeat, and we found ourselves gliding toward the house, our bodies brushing against the walls in a tantalizing dance. Holding hands with hearts racing, I felt a thrilling change in our environment, as if the world was moving faster. As we entered the house, Matthew placed his hand on my waist, gently guiding our steps. Caught in a moment of intense emotion, we found ourselves in a close embrace, my thoughts racing to process the overwhelming feelings. The moment Matthew yielded to him was a fateful misstep, one that could never be undone. As we stepped into the room, it felt as though the very foundations of our world had begun to unravel. Our clothing was scattered throughout the house, marking the path of our hurried movements. Amidst the chaos, a tempest brewed within us, refusing to be tamed. We lay together in bed, holding each other closely, our breaths synchronizing as we shared the moment. In that fleeting moment, it felt as though the world had paused, enveloping them in an intoxicating stillness that held secrets just beneath the surface. Words failed to capture the tumultuous emotions swirling within me. I found myself adrift in an ocean of endless possibilities. Matthew held me securely, my eyes closing as I remained conscious of our surroundings. "Are you able to breathe?" I inquired, a subtle smile gracing my lips as I nestled my head against his chest. My hands lingered upon his form. Every subtle shift sent a thrill through me. "Indeed," Matthew replied, his voice quivering with a blend of certainty and allure. "I suppose so, yet I've never experienced anything quite like this." A hush fell between them for a moment. In that fleeting moment, Matthew's breath quickened ever so slightly, and I found it impossible to overlook. "Is that so?" My lips radiated a warmth that surpassed his own. "What shall we do next?" "Evelyn, I can't say for certain, but it seems that all of this was as intricate as it was just," he murmured, his fingers gently weaving through my hair. "But one thing is certain, having you by my side in this moment surpasses everything else." For a fleeting instant, I became oblivious to the passage of time. My thoughts danced in a haze, elusive and enchanting. I was lost in the enchantment of the moment when suddenly clarity washed over me, leaving me to ponder whether this was a fleeting folly or something far more profound. How do we justify this? "It's all about component placement," I replied, a playful smile dancing on my lips. Matthew's gaze lingered on me, a flicker of uncertainty mingling with an undeniable longing. "I believe the need for explanation is unnecessary," he murmured, a hint of intrigue in his voice. "At times, certain matters are best left shrouded in mystery." We nestled together beneath the sheets, wrapped in a world of our own, our breaths intertwined, ensnared in the enchantment of the moment. Yet a question lingered tantalizingly in my mind. Was this merely a fleeting impulse, or could it be the dawn of something more enchanting? Gazing deeply into Matthew's eyes, I inquired, "How does this conclude? Matthew, have you not pondered it?" He paused for a moment, contemplating, then drew in a deep breath. "We'll ponder it later," he murmured, his fingers gently weaving through my hair. "In this very moment, let us savor the beauty of now." A whirlwind of emotions stirred within me. Yet one truth remained undeniable. That moment transcended all others. Tonight, this moment would belong solely to us, and regardless of what unfolds, it would remain etched in our memories. Then came the silence. A silence that offered a chance to grasp more than just the past, more than the future, more than anything else. If you've journeyed this far, it's clear that the tale has captivated your heart. There's a wealth of intrigue yet to unfold, and you certainly won't want to miss a moment of it. Be sure to press the follow button, activate those notifications, and share your thoughts on this enchanting narrative. I find myself quite eager to hear your musings, so let us indulge in a delightful conversation in the comments.